Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Diamond Chronicles, true tales of trade, trust, and betrayal. My name is Judy Lee. I'm GIA certified, finally.
Yeah, it took a while, that's for sure.
And across from me, I have...
the Global Diamond Broker, Colin David Ferguson. And thank you, Judy, for that wonderful introduction. I was just here explaining to Judy before you came on, you guys should be privy to our pre-podcast chats, that if they put the word cackle in the dictionary, all they would need is one of Judy's laughs, and everybody would understand what a cackle is.
That's not how the dictionary works, Colin.
It's not how the dictionary works. Got it.
Anyways, we are on episode 10 now. How exciting.
Yeah, it is. 10's the prosperity number.
Does that mean you're going to give me a raise?
Okay, like this is putting me on the spot. Listen, I'll tell you what. When you deserve one, you will get one.
Okay.
Awkward. Hey?
Slightly.
So today, let's...
well, let's recap. What did we talk about?
Your dating week? Your week in dating, Judy?
God.
What happened this week?
It's dry. It's dry this week.
What about concert night?
Oh, concert night was so fun. Where did I go? What concert was that?
I'm not surprised you don't remember.
Oh, yes. I went to the weekend. Invited Colin. He said no. So naturally, I asked my girlfriend to go. And then he got upset at me that he couldn't come with.
Upset? Is that
upset's
what I
not
got?
the right word.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, though.
I didn't really want to go, but my daughter was also in town attending, and a thoughtful business associate would have said to her girlfriend, his daughter's in town, and perhaps, because he does so much for me.
Once again, it's my fault, guys.
Right? It's more responsibility, and it's time you learn how to take some responsibility for your behavior.
I'm 24. I'm 24.
Yeah, you'll be saying that at 34 and 44. God knows I still say it. Anyway, we're traveling the globe right now as the Global Diamond Broker, and we're going to be talking about one of my favorite countries in the whole world, which is Belgium, which is where the very first time I ever started importing diamonds, I very bravely got on a plane and flew to Antwerp, Belgium, where we ended up having an office later we posted about this week.
Was that your first
15 years.
When I said you don't let me talk?
Oh, okay. So it's come up now. We get a lot of feedback, and thank you guys who listen to our podcast. Apparently, they want to hear more from Judy, and so the power has shifted, I believe. Okay, so the fans aren't my fans; they're Judy's fans.
No, you're really the compelling one here.
Anyway, away you go. What did you want to say?
I was just going to ask: was that your first experience in Antwerp, Belgium? Is when you started in the diamond business? Or I think you told me you had a job as a youngin'.
Working on the oil tankers going all over the world. You may have seen that on my personal Instagram, actually, because I was rollerblading. I rollerblade a lot for those of you who are listening. My personal Instagram, if you want to follow it, it's easy to find information nowadays on people. It's called at Colin David Ferguson. But I sailed all over the world on oil tankers, and my first, one of the first cities I ever went to, which was the third largest port in the world at that time, was Antwerp, Belgium. And I went into Antwerp, and we were there for a number of days. And I thought then it was a beautiful city, and lo and behold, I was just out of high school in those days. It was kind of a summer job, but turned into much more when I decided to take some time before going to university and travel. And it was very unusual because later in life, in my late 20s, I returned to Antwerp, and it would have been later 20s, mid to late 20s. I returned to Antwerp because for 450 years, Antwerp had been the center of the diamond universe.
As far as cutting goes?
That's a good question, Judy. I'm going to keep track of good questions so we can.
The list is small.
Because I'm going to prove they want to hear me more than you. Okay. It's a really good question. It's the rough trade. It's the rough diamonds. When I learned to look at diamonds, I was looking at rocks. Even nowadays, I mean, the rough trade is where we acquire a lot of our diamonds because we don't have any middlemen in our business. Right? One of the things you and I talk about, and we hope our listeners understand, when we talk about things like exporting diamonds to China. Look, if you're a diamond person or your guy, if it's not me, and they're exporting to China and can prove it to you, look, buy from them. If they can't, buy from us. Acquire your diamonds here because we're going to have the best value and the best selection and the best diamonds. And I don't want to go on, but I'm passionate about this, that people understand this, because one of the things we're seeing right now in the industry is so much misinformation, unfortunately, and people don't really know what's going on. And so we want to be a bit of a barometer for that, for people to understand really what's happening out there right now. How, we were writing about this morning, I think, Judy, about how do you know the difference between, here's the latest thing, is Russian blood diamonds. And we're going to do a post today on this before the podcast comes out. So our listeners, most of you will be familiar with this, but Russian blood diamonds. Now they're like the blood diamonds out of Africa, where young children were getting their hands cut off, and the horrible things. If you saw the movie Blood Diamonds, which was very famous with a young actor who looks much like me, apparently.
It's an inside joke. If you listen to the last podcast, you would know.
Right?
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio and I was in northern China, and somewhere where there's no English, and they thought I was Leonardo. I had a polo shirt on with the children.
I told him he should have played the part.
Sorry, where was I? So Antwerp, Belgium. For 450 years, when I hopped on a plane here as a very young diamond dealer with my tiny little company at the time called Diamonds Direct, that grew to be one of the fastest growing diamond companies in the country, as I landed in this little city, not knowing what I would do, who I would... Judy's giving me hand signals, you guys. If you were here watching through, I get so many hand signals. I can't do anything right, okay? It's like she's badgering me all the time.
If only you knew what goes into editing these podcasts, you would understand.
So anyway, I'm in Antwerp, Belgium, arrived for the first time. I had worked with the Grijsbert family, as you know, and Uncle Eddie was going to become my mentor. He didn't really know that at that. I had been their national distribution manager, where I would take that briefcase full of diamonds and hop on a plane and go out to the east coast of Canada or the U.S. and drive back across, and met Uncle Eddie. And Uncle Eddie became ill in those days and ultimately passed away, and they closed down operations here. Well, I formed a great relationship with his two sons, who were the next generation. When I hopped on a plane, I hadn't spoken to them in a few years, and ended up in Antwerp, and ended up buying in the very exclusive Antwerp Diamond Club in the Bourse there, where, yes, for 450 years, back to the 1400s, it had been the center of the diamond universe, where diamonds were traded in rough, and so much went on. And it was interesting because some of the memories of Antwerp are, the one that probably comes to mind right away is 9/11. And being in the Bourse in Antwerp, Belgium, which is 8 hours ahead of us here on the West Coast, 5 hours ahead of people on the East Coast, and watching the planes on this huge screen. The Bourse, it's, for those of you who want to understand what diamond buying at my level is like, it's a room the size of a gymnasium with tables set up with, in Antwerp was really developed because after World War II, the Hasidic Jews moved to Antwerp, and really the business really blossomed there. So there's a lot of Hasidim who I would not be where I am in the industry today without their help and their guidance and their love and caring for me and showing me the business. It's like a giant gymnasium with tables set up with a big screen at one end, where usually it's the stock market tickers are up on the screen. But this day I'll always remember standing there and seeing the first plane hit, and like a lot of us thinking it's an accident.
Right.
And they're actually I get goosebumps talking about this. They're actually filming the accident. The second plane hits. And, our brains are in denial. And what really made this story even more compelling for me in those days is that our offices were in the World Trade Center right here in Vancouver.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so we had to close our offices for a week because of threat of terrorism. And, of course, my staff just wouldn't go back to work.
Oh,
and you can't blame them. It's frightening.
Yeah,
it's
for
frightening.
sure.
It was an amazing story. And getting out of Antwerp, there were no flights. If you recall, they shut down international travel. And, again, by the time I got the first flight from Heathrow to Canada, it went not direct to YVR, went to Toronto, but I got on it. And I can remember being in this surreal situation, sitting on the plane where they had the planes were back up. It was a Sunday evening, I recall, and they were serving dinner with plastic utensils and no knives. And
that's crazy.
Crazy, like you guys. It was a very sad time. But that's only one of the memories. The great memories are the memories out of Antwerp, Belgium, where I would sit in that bourse and I would trade and I would inspect, like I do today and like I'm training you to do, is to look at diamonds and understand each diamond and the difference between the best and what's not the best.
Okay, so we're in Antwerp, Belgium.
We're in Antwerp, Belgium. We lived through 9/11. I mean, I have so many stories from Antwerp, Belgium. I was there for 15 years. Here, you want to hear a good story from Antwerp, Belgium?
No.
Okay.
Kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's a good story from Antwerp, Belgium. Stefan Grijsbert is working with me in the bourse, and we're buying together. And I make a deal on a diamond, and it's an Argyle pink diamond, because in those days, Argyle had their office in Antwerp, Belgium. It wasn't centralized. This is my first introduction to these guys. And really, it's 20 years before I became an agent or an authorized distributor for the Argyle Pink Diamond Mine. And I met these guys like Patrick Copens, who's still there. And there was an office they had in Antwerp, and I would go there and look at pink diamonds. And you guys, much like their office in Perth, Australia, I would go in, and these guys would go for lunch, and I would be left in this room full of pink diamonds, okay? Like
by yourself?
Piles of them, by myself.
Just to look at?
Just to pick, to select. You know the post we did last night that you didn't watch, or the story? About
Which
how
one?
we got parcels, and right? Oh, that's
funny.
Yeah,
that one.
Oh, that's funny, is it? Right. But our post last night was about how we get parcels, and this is how we buy. And understand, the diamonds in a parcel are all the same price. We just picked the best ones.
Oh, so you get first dibs, basically.
First dibs. So we went and we opened this parcel and go to the Global Diamond Broker to have a look at our post today, our story today, and you'll understand it's a big parcel of diamonds. So I would go in, and there would be piles of pink diamonds in this Argyle office in Antwerp, where I would go in, and these guys would leave for lunch, and I'd sit there and sort through pink diamonds for my lunch hour, and then they'd come back and weigh them up, and I would acquire them. Well, there was this one stone, and Stefan and I were like brothers in those days. We did a lot of work together. He lived in Antwerp and helped us out with the office. There was this one stone I acquired, and I'm a hard buyer. I buy tough. I've been in the business a long time. I know the value of acquiring stones and how to acquire them and what to look for. And so this one Argyle pink, it was a 96 point Argyle Intense pink diamond, that I bought for $25,000 US.
Wow.
And Stefan came back to the office, looked at it and said, "There's no way you bought this diamond for $25,000 US."
He thought it was more?
So he thought it was worth much more.
Okay.
Okay. So, and it really was, but you know, I'm an excellent buyer. And so where this led was, with the two of us, it was late in the afternoon in Antwerp, and we may have had a few beers after buying all morning. It's Antwerp, Belgium, a couple of Stellas, right? The national beer, I think, of Belgium. And it became very elevated to the point where he decided he needed to call to double check the price.
Really?
And of course, I had done Mazal on this, and Mazal is the word you use when you make a deal. He was sure they must have made a mistake on the diamond.
Really?
Well, he grabbed on to me, I grabbed on to him, and that office, we went at it. Like, no punches were thrown, but we were rolling over desks.
Oh, my God.
He's got the diamond in his hand, and I'm grabbing onto him, trying to get my diamond back because I made Mazal on the diamond. Honest to goodness, like that's the kind of stuff that goes on.
Sounds
I guess
so funny.
you know, but that's one of the buyers. So if you don't think I buy hard, I buy hard. So that was Antwerp, and then the white diamond, same thing. This is where I really discovered, because I had these Hasidic Jews they're 10 generations, some of these families in the diamond industry, who would sit down with me and show me how to buy and show me what to look for and show me the nuance. And it was them that used to say all about the importance of beauty in a diamond. And understand, when I talk about these time frames, I think we posted this week about that picture of me visiting the Bourse in Antwerp, where it's 1477, and there's records of diamonds being traded, and it was a town in those days, a small town on the river. Antwerp itself, I have so many stories, you guys. Some of the greatest robberies in the diamond industry have taken place in the vaults in Antwerp. Some of them are still unsolved. I mean, it's really an interesting place. Uncle Eddie Greisberg, God rest his soul. I love that man. He really taught me so much about the business. He was a former site dealer for De Beers, right? And he would take me down into the vaults underneath the city, and understand. So the vaults, we're in Canada, we're in the U.S., we're not old countries. I mean, there you stand in courtyards that are 2,000 years old, right? But the bank we went to had been reconstructed because during the war it had been bombed, and when we went down to his safe deposit area, not just a box, but area, there were it was built for people at the time, so it was much shorter, and you'd have to duck down and go in. And
and you're tall.
I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
Ever since I started doing fish pose in yoga, I'm 6'3". Prior to that, I was only 6'2". Anyway.
I could use that pose.
Yeah, Anyway, no, you're perfect just like you are. Okay? I don't want any more trouble with you today.
Yeah.
Please, okay? Please don't be mean to me again. You guys, seriously, the hand signals I get, the off-air,
I'm such a spaz, honestly.
Berating me off-air for not having my face close enough to the microphone, not
having it too far.
Hey, yeah. And then today we get the classic, okay, I'm not doing the podcast today, right? Oh my God, right? Where was I? Yeah, in the vaults, where he took me in, and he talked about these 3 diamonds, and I'll never forget, there was a orange diamond, a larger one, there was a pink diamond, and there was a red diamond in this vault, in this one box in this vault. And
this is all underground.
All underground.
That is so cool.
Like you would think it had been at one point. It's all like inlay brick and everything. I mean, high security, but very secure, but built, 100 years ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And but these are the kind of memories I have of this city. And 450 years, it's hard for us to understand that in a country that's 150 years old. It's So yeah, that was Antwerp, and the Bourse in Antwerp even today is a highly respected trading center. But there's been so much decentralization now in the industry to go with the changes we talk about all the time. India, 9 out of 10 diamonds go through India. Now, 9 out of 10 diamonds go through India. I mean, it's remarkable.
Where would you say the other?
I think it's the other are some of the bigger. So, for example, we have some very discerning clients who will acquire rough. We love to acquire rough for our clients and polish it. We use manufacturing in Israel to do that. Who are very experienced with a lot of the stones, with the colored diamonds as well. Certainly, you can't. Although it's a secondary market, you can't not look to New York as a place where there's more business coming. But yeah, 9 out of 10, it's inexpensive labor and access to diamonds. So when we talk now about mine diamonds and we talk about lab created diamonds, I mean, just this week, $8 billion in lab created diamonds. All in India. It's all being cut and manufactured in India. All of it. All the Russian goods that they talk about that I take exception to with the industry, allowing them back into the markets right now. They literally are using the money to fund the war. And, those all go to India. India does all the manufacturing. So it's quite shocking, really, how the industry's changed.
Sounds like you had a really cool experience in Antwerp, Belgium, and it definitely shaped your diamond career.
That's exactly right. I guess it did shape my career. I really learned diamonds there. I mean, I had the top people in the world. I remember Edward Alsace, who had the Aurora collection of the rarest colored diamonds in the world, who took me under his wing and taught me all about colored diamonds. And Uncle Eddie Greisbert thought that, white diamonds should be left in the rough. He appreciated them more as rocks.
Wow, really?
Interesting, right?
Very
and he was a
interesting.
site dealer for De Beers, these $100 million boxes that he would sell. And they were all rough. It's quite a fascinating story.
That shows his true appreciation for diamonds and the diamond industry.
I think when you get the bug, the passion for it, and I mean, these guys are top experts in the industry. And this is where I get this beauty thing, and which we're going to be talking about, I think, moving forward so much more, is because that's my passion. I believe the only luxury is beauty. I mean, who would, every couple who's ever gone out to buy an engagement ring, the first thing, he might not think it because he's thinking about the money and,
right.
All the things he could be spending his money on besides a diamond engagement ring. She's thinking about the beauty. And really, it's the only return. And nowadays, that's quantifiable and measurable. And, I know the industry doesn't want to move in that direction, but that's where we're taking RareRock. So RareRock is going to be rare for a couple of reasons. And, when I go back and people ask me over the years, being the authorized partner for the Argyle mine and visiting all these diamond mines and learning from these incredible mentors, RareRock is going to be rare in a couple of different ways. Number one, RareRock, if you'd like it, is a brand where it's the most beautiful. So wherever you are, whether it's your diamond earrings, and by the way, I get more referrals for clients from diamond earrings than any engagement ring I've ever made, because most jewelers will go, oh, don't put good diamonds in the ears. Caca. First place you look at a woman
That's so
is her
true.
face.
That's so
more
true.
referrals than any other. We just had a referral.
For my friend.
For your friend who's has diamond earrings.
He wears it all the time, and he can't get over how shiny and beautiful they are.
They're the
I'm like,
best.
he took you from a 7 to a 10.
And so that's the return. And so we've been incubating this and talking and going around it, and now we're doing it. So these diamonds will literally be laser inscribed with the RareRock brand. They will be the most beautiful, and they're going to have another guarantee. that's never been heard of in the industry, that given the technology and the times in the industry, is we're going to give our clients a lifetime guarantee on these diamonds. If they're not the most beautiful diamond, if they're not the absolute best value, you can return them for life. I mean, is there anything better? Think of a guy who wants to buy a diamond for an engagement ring. It just takes the matter and makes it so simple. It's the ultimate luxury beauty. The manufacturing we use, as you know, is our product. She can stick her finger out in the best jewelry store and, anywhere in the world, and it's
going to be the most beautiful.
The most beautiful, and the workmanship's the best. So there you go. That's Antwerp, Belgium. That's what I learned there. I use it every single day. I miss Antwerp a great deal. I loved being there monthly. I was always on a Lufthansa flight or a BA flight flying into my office in Antwerp. And but it's a different diamond world now, as we've talked about. And, now we have markets like China, which is way more fun, actually, now that I think about it.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your story, Colin. It's really cool to hear about your experiences all over the world. Next week, what do we have for our listeners?
I think we're going to come back to this a little bit of more international travel. I know
I think
so. People who are really interested in
I'm interested. It's
like Vienna,
it's super fascinating stuff.
It's pretty fascinating stuff. It really is. But I also want to stay on this what's going on in the diamond industry today a little bit, because it's extraordinary. I mean, the diamond industry itself appears to be at a crossroads, and the benefits for our clients are substantial. And so and this thing about beauty and what luxury is, I mean, I think we've defined it, and we want to move forward with that as well in talking about that. And please, if anybody disagrees, I would love to get feedback, but I don't know how you could.
Well, until next time, everyone, make sure you follow us on our Instagram. Colin's throwing up the peace sign, or the V sign, sorry.
V for victory.
Follow us on our Instagram at The Global Diamond Broker. Colin, hello.
Oh, goodbye.